everyone, it's CricketSong. This video is only going to be a voiceover. I'm going to be discussing the topic of consecration. In one of my previous videos, I believe it was when I was covering one of the letters of the witch's alphabet, I was asked to talk about consecration for the letter C, but since I already have a topic I want to discuss for the letter C in that series, I decided to do a video on consecration separately. Now, the individual who asked about consecration did not have specific questions on the topic, so in doing this video, I will just talk about my definition of consecration and what role it previously played in my practice and what role, if any, it plays in my practice now. So when I hear the word consecration or I hear someone discuss consecration, what I believe it means, or the definition that I have for consecration, is the action of making or declaring something as sacred. Okay, so then I need to define what I mean by sacred. So sacred means devoted exclusively to one service or use, usually connected with the gods or dedicated to a religious purpose, and so deserving veneration. So when someone talks about consecration, I understand that they're making an item holy, and that item is going to be used exclusively for some sort of religious or spiritual purpose. So in my experience, it doesn't necessarily only have to be items. You can consecrate a person. In my previous spiritual path or witchcraft path, when I identified as Wiccan, consecration played a major role in my practice. This was because I had a relationship with a particular god and a particular goddess. Sometimes in my previous practice, that god or goddess changed as my own path transitioned. And when I practiced with the coven, it was a specific god and goddess. So even though we may say the goddess, we had a name for that particular goddess. It was a particular goddess and a particular god that we were working with and honoring and worshiping. So consecration we did every time we entered circle. Once the circle was cast and that liminal space was created, everything, every person that came into that circle had been or was consecrated, was made holy, was made sacred for the act of ritual. So all the items we used in ritual, our chalices, our athames, the sword, the staff, the pentacle, everything that was used, the altar itself had been consecrated. And every time someone entered the circle, they too had to be consecrated. They also needed to be cleansed before they were consecrated, but cleansing is a different topic. We're going to focus on consecration. In my personal practice, because I did still identify as Wiccan, and I still worshipped, honored, and worked with a particular goddess and a particular god, everything that I used in my personal practice was also consecrated. In my practice now, because I don't work with gods or the gods, I work with the primordial forces, the energies that are not personal, they're not personified. They are the greater than a particular god or goddess. I don't have the need, or I am not led to consecrate anything. Nothing is used exclusively for my work with a personified god or goddess. Now, if I do have a need or a desire, or I am called to work with a particular god or goddess during a magical working or a spell casting, I still don't have the need or feel the desire to consecrate anything unless I am led to in that moment. But in the general scope of my witchcraft practice now, I do not consecrate things. There is no desire or need to make or declare something as sacred. Now, I do have a rite that I used when I did identify as Wiccan that I'll share with you on how I consecrated items that I used in my practice when I was working with or honoring or working in conjunction with a god or goddess. So let me share that rite with you. So this is only a consecration rite. There is cleansing done prior to consecration. This is just the consecration rite. So I generally consecrated items with the elements. And when I speak of the elements, I'm speaking of earth, air, fire, and water. So on my altar, I would have a representation of each of the elements. So I would have a candle for fire. I'd have incense burning for air. I'd have a bowl of sand or dirt for earth. And I would have a bowl of water, usually rainwater, for the element of water. They would be arranged around my pentacle that was on the altar. So to begin the consecration rite, I would blow my breath 3 times over each of the elements. And the reason for this is I was merging my energy through my breath with each of the energy of each of the elements. So it was merging our energies together. Then I would hold my hand over each of the elements, and as I did, I would say, in the name of the goddess, whichever goddess I was working with at the time, I would name the goddess. And in the name of the god, if I was working with a god. Usually in my Wiccan practice, I did have a goddess and her consort, or I would have a god and a goddess that I'd be working with. So there was a balance, but they had specific names, so I would name them. One heart, one mind, one magic, one truth, one body, one energy. In perfect joy and perfect peace, in perfect love and perfect trust, I call forth the power of spirit and the serenity of divine order. As above, so below, so mote it be. So I would do that over each of the elements. And again, I would name the goddess and the god that I was working with. Once I did that, I would then take the item that I was consecrating. So say there was a particular necklace that I was going to wear when I did my magic, when I held ritual. I would need to consecrate that. So I would put that on the pentacle on the altar. I would hold one hand over the necklace or the item, and with my right hand, I would then, use that hand to either sprinkle water or sprinkle some of the dirt over the item. Now I would do each element, starting with water, moving to earth, then moving to air, and then ending with fire. So I would sprinkle the element, the water, on the necklace, and I would say, by the element of water, in the name of the goddess, name her, and the name of the god, name him, may you be blessed in the name of the goddess, name her, and be filled with the energy of that element. Now, I would not only say, the element of water, but I would find a corresponding energy that I felt was part of water that I wanted to imbue in that item. So in the necklace. So for example, water I associate with emotion. So I would say, may you be blessed in the name of the goddess, say Isis, and be filled with the energy of water and emotion. So I would take that element and an energy corresponding that related to that item. And then I'd say, so mote it be. And then I'd move to the next element, which would be earth. And I might use sand or dirt. So I would then hold my hand over the necklace, take my other hand, sprinkle some dirt or sand over it, and say, by the element of earth, in the name of the goddess, say Isis, and the name of Thoth, the god, may you be blessed in the name of Isis, the goddess, and be filled with the energy of earth and the energy of stability. So mote it be. So again, the element with a corresponding energy that I would want that item to be imbued by. And I do that with the air. I would pass it through incense, and then after that I would do it with the fire, pass it through the flame. When I finished with all of the elements, I would then blow on the item, in this example, the necklace, 3 times, imbuing my energy, my witch energy, my witch power with the elements onto the necklace. I would then draw a pentacle over the necklace, usually with my athame, but you can do so with your finger. And then I would say, this, whatever it is, necklace is now consecrated and empowered in the name of the goddess, name her, and in the name of the god, name him. This magic is sealed, so mote it be. And then I would stamp my foot on the ground. That's how I would consecrate my items. But again, before anything was consecrated, I would do a cleansing, and that's different. That's a separate rite that would be done prior to a consecration. Now, because I don't work with a particular god and goddess, like I said, I don't tend to consecrate anything. So I'm curious for all of you out there, do you use consecration? When do you use consecration? How do you use consecration? If you don't, why not? Please share. I'd love to hear your personal experiences. Until next time, I love you. Mwah. Blessed be.